Here are just some of my thoughts on the movie Sinners by Ryan Coogler, even though I'm a cosplay anime account because I can do whatever I want. I've noticed a lot of discourse around this movie, especially when people center their own spirituality. And I've seen this whether they're spiritual, religious, atheist, so I want to add to the conversation about spirituality and religion, but basing it a bit more in the context of the movie and history. To start things off, before watching the movie, I came to the conclusion that the way that society is set up in real life, the only way that minorities or marginalized groups will ever have autonomy, respect, or the ability to survive is through some form of assimilation, sacrifice of their culture, gentrification, or appropriation. A typical shower time thought, and honestly it's a little depressing every time I think about it. And one of the numerous examples would be African Americans. To get to where we are now, it's taken violence, educating non-black people, becoming more palatable, and having other people and cultures claiming that our culture is finally cool, just to be humanized a bit more. And ironically, as I'm saying this, I am once again being bombarded on one of my videos with racist comments simply for being black, in the year of 2025. So we're gonna take that thought and save it for later. One major concept that I interpreted from the film was deconstructing binaries. There was the deconstruction of black and white. Society was never as simple as black and white. There were natives, there were Asians, there were mixed race people, and this movie showed how each of these people played a role in society. The concept of good and evil was also challenged. Anything that wasn't of the church or secular was demonic. But at the same time, it was acknowledged that the church was forced upon black people by white people, despite it being a place of comfort, hope, and community. Often, vampires are associated with the devil, and their opposing force would be God or the church. However, this movie heavily revolved around hoodoo, and depending on who you speak to in real life, as well as in the movie, at least I think, I've only seen the movie once, hoodoo is referred to as demonic, when ironically, hoodoo was how everyone was informed and had a chance to fight back, and at the end of the day, hoodoo was the thing that was keeping smoke alive. There's also an emphasis between the living and the dead and the crossroads and being able to tap into that middle ground. And lastly, this might be a bit of a stretch, but I think a third separate structure could be freedom versus letting go of your roots? To be honest, I still don't fully know how to title this concept. Assimilation and change versus comfort and unhappiness? You get the vibe. And full disclosure, I didn't learn about Robert Johnson until after the movie, and that's what also helped me to solidify this concept. So bear with me. TLDR, Robert Johnson was a man who sucked at playing the guitar, made a deal with the devil, and suddenly became good at playing guitar. Except, after seeing a video with Ryan Coogler, he clarified that Robert Johnson actually met the spirit Papa Legba. And then those teachings and ideals of Papa Legba got tainted as they got intertwined with other cultures, hence him being falsely equated to the devil. So at this point in the movie, we no longer just have black and white, good and evil, but other races, vampires, hoodoo, and the crossroad. And although the twins gave this energy that they were free and powerful and had money and were happy, they also admitted that life was just as bad. Chicago was the same as back home 7 years later, it just had taller buildings. I think that's what they said. So initially it seems that the options for Sam are being a sharecropper, or leaning into black capitalism and going to Chicago. Then we're offered being a vampire, or being appropriated or gentrified, but Sammy decides to create another path through music, through blues. And this is where I got stuck. What did the church and Sammy's father represent? And why do I have a feeling that the movie wasn't saying that the church was the safe haven or the answer to all of this? After watching the movie, I did a quick TikTok speedrun of the blues, Robert Johnson, hoodoo, and then also similar on the original thoughts that I had before the movie. And then it clicked. Sammy never had a perfect option. In the end, Sammy held on tightly to his guitar and followed the demonic choice, walking away from the church and living out his life. Some may call it a happy ending, while others argue that Sammy was plagued with trauma for the rest of his life. Sammy was able to live on, pursue music, and see a better future, but at what cost? What did he give up or have to go through to get to that point? How do we define a good or a bad outcome? And was society ever set up in a way that gave Sammy a better option than the one that he chose? And although I don't have every single answer to this movie, I do believe a big plot point is the inevitable loss of self and disconnect from culture and ancestry that African Americans have gone through just to survive and make it through society, as well as the decisions that we've had to make to reach this concept of happiness.